Hi everybody, it's Anitra back with another video, and I want to talk about something that's very personal to me. I teach, and today I happen to be in the office copying some papers like I always do when I'm on my break because, you know, kids have to do some work. Not the only way, but one way. Anyway, there was a parent that was waiting for the secretary for something. I don't remember. But she came over to me and she whispered really softly, can I ask you a question? And I was like, sure. She was like, do you have alopecia? And I go, yeah, I do. And we got to talking, and turns out she had alopecia too, and she had it for a long, long time, since she was about 4 years old. And I've only had it for the last 6 or 7 years. 7 years. So she's been dealing with this a long time, much longer than me. But she seemed a little timid because she still was wearing wigs. She's beautiful with it, no problem there. But I think what she said was, she thought I was brave for going out and stepping out with my own head. So I thought I'd get on here and tell my story, just because I want people to know that just because you don't have hair doesn't mean you can't live a good life. So here I am, no makeup, no eyebrows, no anything that sometimes I add extra. And I'm going to tell you the story of how how I started living with alopecia. I guess it was about 7 years ago now. Almost 8, because my second daughter is 8 years old. And it was after I had had her. I can't remember how old she was, but I had hair for a while. And it had started to thin out. I thought that it was just postpartum shedding, because that happens all the time. Totally normal. And figured at some point it would go back to thickness. I had natural hair at the time, so big fro, yay to all the naturals out there. And just started to thin, mostly in the back. And I didn't think about it too much. Postpartum hair falling out, maybe pulling it up in a bun, which I did. You know, there are reasons why your hair thins. So one day I was in the shower and I was doing my regular hair wash day routine, and I noticed that a lot of hair was coming out. I wasn't sure where, but a lot of hair was coming out in my hand as I was working the shampoo through it. So I put it to the side. You know, we as women, when our hair starts to come out of our head, we kind of go, ah! Kept washing, more came out. And I noticed that when I was done rinsing and all of that, that both sides were very thin. I mean, I could see scalp down here, like clumps of hair in my hand. And I pretty much freaked out in that bathroom. Made an appointment with the dermatologist. And at that point, I had heard about alopecia. I didn't really know what it was. So he took a piece of my scalp, the scar's still back there, and put it under a microscope, came back and said, you are losing your hair. You have alopecia. Well, I knew my hair was coming out because it was in my hand in the shower. So I was looking for causes and what I could do, really what I could do to get my hair back. So he goes, the hair's not dead. The follicle's still alive. It's just not there for the hair that was there. And he explained to me kind of what alopecia is. It's an autoimmune disease, like if you had lupus or some other one, where your white blood cells attack the wrong thing. And for me, it's my hair follicles. For someone else, it could be their muscles. For someone else, it could be their organs. Whatever. For me, it was my hair follicles. What can you do about it? They don't really know, because they know triggers, but they don't, as far as I know, up to this point, nobody knows the real cause. So hormone deficiencies, thyroid deficiencies, stress, they can all trigger your hair falling out. And I'm not sure how or what my trigger was. What I do know, it started to fall out. So I was depressed. Anybody who knows me, my friends know, back then there was one thing I loved, and that was doing my own hair. I felt powerful when I could express myself with a certain style. I was pretty good at it before YouTube videos started coming out, and there was just black hair magazines that you could look at and you go, ooh, I want to do that. I was pretty good at imitating them. So a part of my identity was wrapped up in what my hair looked like. So inside, I'm going through like a death. I can't explain it to you. It was really bad. So he said I could take steroids by mouth, or I could take a steroid shot. And I wanted my hair back, so I start taking the shots. I can't describe to you, for me, I don't really have a high tolerance for pain anyway, so I can't describe to you what that actually felt like, except it was horrible, like horrible. I don't even have the words. But I did it. He shot needles into both sides of my hair. He shot needles here. I think it had begun to kind of thin out here, so he gave shots into my head, and it felt like a needle going straight through my bone, even though I know it wasn't. Terrible. And my hair slowly did begin to like grow back. You know how you get the little feather hairs when your hair begins to grow out, and so little feathers of hair would come back here and here, real curly, very pretty. It did start to grow back, but that's not something you can do one time. You have to keep doing that over and over. So he said I was going to have to come back every month and get those shots so that I could maintain the growth of my hair. I did that for a while. It did grow back some, and I just couldn't keep it up because every time I would go back, it was painful. Plus, there's side effects to taking steroids all the time, having that medicine in your body. Depression, it could be weight gain, it could be any number of things, mood swings. All of those things come with injecting steroids, either by mouth or taking it, or through needles. Comes with it. And that was not the way that I wanted to live. I wanted my hair. I wanted my hair really badly. But I wasn't really willing to continue. So I stopped taking the steroid shots. And my hair stayed for a while. I wore wigs, trying to figure out what I was going to do when I could no longer cover up my hair. The bald spots, I wore wigs. I was never really comfortable with them because it wasn't something I had been doing before. So used to extensions, the most I would do was braids, and that wasn't often. Mostly I was manipulating my own natural hair. So to go from always having your own hair and to always now having wigs, I wasn't comfortable. Nothing wrong with them. I have them now. I'm looking for a good one. If you have a good brand that will look really good on me, very natural, leave it in the comment. I will try it. But I wasn't comfortable. So I stopped wearing the wigs, and I cut my hair, what was left of it, very low, like a boy cut, Caesar cut. And though there was like no hair here, I still had stubble at the top, and I still had stubble at the back. So it looked like I had faded out my hair. I don't know what you call that. Did that for a while, and I kept shaving it down, or I would go to the barber and let them shave that down, and it looked good on me. It was fine. And then over time, I noticed that I needed to shave less and less. And then what was stubble began to be smooth. And after a while, I had no you know how when your hair is growing back, you can see the darkness? I had no darkness, and so no hair on my head. And I would cry. I don't think I cried like out really, because I didn't want anyone to see how I really felt. But I did cry in the shower, and I did cry when I was in the washroom, or if nobody was home, and I did cry. After that, I had hair, but I didn't have hair, but I had eyebrows, I had eyelashes, and little by little, those started to go too. And really, to see your face without the things that you are used to, it's life-changing. So I would go in the mirror and I would look at me and I would be like, who is this you? I don't know. It was hard. It was painful. It was painful. That's all I can say. So I always penciled in my eyebrows, but I would pencil them more. I'm not a makeup artist, so even to this day, they're never even. But back then, they really weren't even, and I really wasn't comfortable. And so I put back on the wigs. And that's what I did for a long time. My children, though, were small, most of them. I was having babies. I have a few kids, 4. And when they would be in my arms, they would pull at my wig, or we'd be out and they would pull at it. And I would spend so much time worrying about what my head or my hair looked like that I stopped living. So I was always conscious of people looking at me, or if it was on the wrong way. You know, women, I'm sure you can understand and you can relate to some point. And so I stopped worrying them completely, and I went out, no eyebrows, no hair, no eyelashes. Eventually, the rest of my body hair fell out too. And I didn't really know what to do, but I started going out, and I would get stares. I would be in the mall, and sometimes people would say, oh, I'll be praying for you, because they thought I had cancer or something. I got random hugs. I got guys stare at me a lot just because they weren't sure if I was a boy or if I was a girl. And at first, it was hard to ignore. Today, it doesn't matter anymore. But it was hard because I was used to being identified as beautiful. And one of those things that were beautiful about me was my hair. Maybe if I can find a picture, I'll insert it somewhere. So now it moves from a physical thing I'm dealing with to an emotional thing. And I think some women who experience what I experience have issues like I had, because today, everything you see is about beauty. Everything you see is about makeup. What is the next hairstyle? And for women of color, we're into crochet things and different types of lace wigs. And what's our hair looking like if it's in a fro? Or what's it like if it's pressed and long? You know, everything is so superficial these days. And so how do you, as a woman, fit into that when people identify women as beautiful based on a few things, based on your body type, like your body size, based on the curves that you do or you don't have, based on what your hair looks like, how high your cheekbones are, you know, all those surface things. And now when you've lost one of those, it's like, what do I do now? And so I did a lot of praying. I'm a Christian. I did a lot of praying, a lot of inward self-reflection, and slowly but surely, I think I became, and I don't know, I don't know how to say this any better. I think I became less superficial. So now every time I'm looking in the mirror, all I see is me. This is me. Do I love me like this? I had to learn to love me just like this. And I want to say to those out there, you are going to have to love you no matter what you look like. Because hair falls out, weight changes, wrinkles come, your face drops, everything changes. And what really matters sounds like a cliche, but what really matters is your character and what's on the inside. None of this, at the end of the day, really matters. It's important for when it's important, but it doesn't necessarily define who you are. And once I figured that out, I was able to not just walk out, but own my head, own what my face looks like. I go to school now and I may or may not draw on eyebrows. I do draw them, but in the week, probably not. And it's so funny because now my students, if I do draw on an eyebrow, they'll be like, Miss Anderson, what happened to your face? Because they're not used to seeing me all made up. So I'm comfortable going out. Do I miss having hair? Absolutely. And I hope, before it doesn't matter anymore, that somebody finds a real cure for alopecia, because it's still tough for many women and men going through it. I hope we do. And if there was ever something that would grow my hair back, I'd take it tomorrow. If I knew for sure it was going to grow back and stay, I'd take it tomorrow, because I love having hair. I miss having hair. But I'm okay now. And so I want to say to the lady, the woman, the kind lady that talked to me, you can go out of the house without that wig if you want. And it will be fine. And in really having the option, it's the most freeing thing. When you can run out the house and not have to put on makeup, when you can run out the house and not have to make sure that you're all decked out and on fleek or you're slaying, when you're okay and you're just, I slay because I slay, right? No matter what, it's okay. That is freeing. And I want you to know that you, woman, you, man, you, boy, you, girl, you can do it no matter what, because it's not necessarily what is up here. It's not what's here. It's what is here, right there, and what's inside here. And if you have that together, everything else will fall into place. And you will have some people that will still stare at you. You will have people to give you stupid comments, but you will also be an encouragement to many who will look to you, because in you loving and embracing who you are without the extra, they will find strength in that, in watching you. And so I get comments all the time. Ooh, you're so brave. Ooh, I wish I could do that. Ooh, you know, all kinds of comments. But you can. It's not easy, and it may not be easy at first. But if you can just step out the house that one time, and then that next time, and then that next time, I promise you it will get easier. If you can go and stand in the mirror and just look at yourself without no makeup, no extra hair, and be okay with that, you'll be good to go. Because having alopecia, and for me it's Alopecia Universalis, is not the end of the world. It is the end of a world that you know, because a lot of things change. There are a lot of things that I don't even do anymore because I don't have hair. There are a lot of things I don't even think about anymore because I don't have hair. So your life, your world will change. but it doesn't have to change in a bad way. So take the leap, take the step, try it. I'll make another video maybe about how it's affected me from day to day. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. If you want to inbox me, if you have something personal you want to ask, if you want me to make a video about questions that you have, leave them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be making more and more videos, and I think that you will like joining me in my life's journey. That's all I have for today. Have a good day, and I'll see you again next time.